man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask, and he will tell you the truth. Oscar Wilde. You're probably never going to read this because no one ever seems to read the introduction. So, of course, I decided to bury all the treasure-finding clues that will help you figure out the rest of the book. You're welcome. People have always said that strange and interesting stories seem to just find me like I have some sort of gravitational pull that just draws them into my life experience. Which is exactly why, when I was in the 5th grade, a cannibal child molester stole my kickball. I'm not joking about the cannibal child molester. To be fair, and even more importantly, the kickball wasn't mine personally. It did, in fact, belong to our 5th grade classroom. But I can assure you that the following deeds did indeed transpire. A bunch of us were outside at recess playing this variation of dodgeball that we had made up. Rules, like etiquette in front of your female classmates, were merely a suggestion. Anyways, the ball ended up going over the fence and out in the street. Just when we were going to ask the recess aide to grab it for us, a red car pulls up and stops right next to it. The door opens, and a man puts his legs out of the vehicle and reaches down and grabs a hold of the ball. He proceeds to pause for a moment. We're all waving our arms in the air, wanting him to just throw it back. Then he suddenly just grabs it, gets fully back into his car, and just speeds off like the piece of shit he is. A few months later, a known sex offender was brought up on several charges of molestation, rape, and cannibalism. And upon seeing his face on TV, I remember all I could think was, that's the guy, that's him. Oh wow, you really are reading this. Let me see if I can find a way to tie this into my book here. I guess you could say this is just one example of the strange experiences I have encountered throughout my life. Although it was this experience that led me to believe that I could not be surprised by anything anymore. As soon as I started working in hospitality, I was proven wrong. And every single time that I thought I was pressed firmly against the Willy Wonka glass elevator of possibilities, some fellow primate would graciously shed their stupidity or insanity that would prove me wrong. Oh, so wrong. I like to think that working in such an industry as hospitality makes you a better person, simply because it shows you exactly who and what you do not want to be, and you find yourself striving to be better. Hotels are an Oscar Wilde-like mask with concrete walls and neatly wrapped soap. Under this mask, the swarms of humanity acted out who they really were, and I was their audience. It has been said that we tell stories to make sense of what happened. This is very fitting for me here. I find myself continuously trying to make sense of the events that transpired and continue to transpire across check-in desks in every state in America and around the globe. Unless you're a flat earther, then this would be across the entire square thing. You're also wrong. I'm presenting to you a collection of stories that is full of all kinds of vitriol. It is very real and raw and could possibly even offend some. I've changed the names of the people involved and possible locations were changed or omitted. Otherwise, though, the stories remain completely truthful. One brief, but again truthful, account was something that happened a few months after my 4-year mark in hospitality. I was in no way new to all the happenings in this industry. I was very well seasoned, and one could say a bit salty at times. Pardon the pun. Here's an aperitif of what you might sample on the silver tray of a daily shift in my hotel. There was a brief prank phone call I had one late night. Between the prank calls I would get at work and the ones I made as a kid empowered me to deal with these creatively. It was late into a night audit shift. That means we spent an entire shift writing down various numbers and watching Netflix, not necessarily in that order. Like a flare in the ocean, suddenly the phone rang out of nowhere. It was a small group of kids, probably pre-teens, full of pre-crushed dreams and Hannah Montana monologues, possibly early teens making prank calls. The prank caller said, yeah, this is your customer in room 129, and we got some people banging on the door and being loud. We did not have a room 129. Not to mention, this was obviously a kid trying to make his voice sound unnecessarily deeper. This being tied to the fact that I could see on the caller ID that he was calling from a phone line outside the hotel, and I could hear his little friend snickering in the background. I was tired and ready to go home. I really did not want to deal with a prank call right at that moment. So I responded how I felt would be the best way to turn the tables of pranking around on them. I said, "You know your parents don't love you and took off in the middle of the night so they wouldn't have to see you again, right?" There was a bit of a pause before he gave me a bit of a disturbed sounding response of, "What?" He sounded almost like he was holding back tears, to which I said, "Go ahead and check. I'll wait." Having the attributes of being snarky, irreverent became a necessity of carrying out this job. If you're still reading this, then you probably have a sense of humor that is just as disturbed enough as mine to enjoy this book. So I guess I'll just sort of end this introduction and let you get on with it. Enjoy.